Pisces, this is your December 2023 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, this reading might resonate for you. It's Romy here. Thank you for taking the time to join me for our final soul story of the year. Appreciate all your support over the last 12 months. We're going to open up this energy of December with the King of Coins. And the compassionate honesty that you have with yourself this month is helping you to come to terms with stopping doing things that just no longer make sense to you. The context of where you are and what you see demands a new approach through the course of this month. And don't be afraid to suggest something that feels radically new or different, because I think people are actually ready to receive it from you. And the energy with which you express it, how you say it, comes across as actually quite leveled and quite grounded. It also has a generosity of spirit about it. So even though it may require for people to kind of wrap their heads around something a little bit different, I think this desire on your part to have a more stripped back or simplified way of navigating and dealing with the season that can, at the best of times be incredibly sensitive and overwhelming. But particularly this year, I think with this sort of vice-like grip that you may have felt in different areas of your life over the last 12 months, there is a lingering exhaustion on all levels. But what we can say about December is that there is this undercurrent of emotional healing and compassionate energy that's really powerful and it's really profound, and it will help to address and to soothe many of the experiences that you are trying to manage in your own day-to-day pathway, but also in terms of how you see things around you. Now, at the beginning of the month, we have Venus shifting into fellow water sign Scorpio. There is an intensity there. There is a passion ignited there. And when we are in that scorpionic energy with Venus, we do demand the truth. And, we also need to ensure that we speak the truth. And sometimes the things that we don't want to hear, the things we don't want to say, and the things that we don't want to do are exactly what's required of us. And I think Venus in Scorpio through the course of December is asking that of you. Now, we activate your 10th house, which is also putting some focus around the legacy that you want to leave, the impression as you leave the room. But it's not just about this day, this month, it's also about the year. And, a huge part of December is about to what degree can we find acceptance and make peace with everything that has happened to us, everything that we have endured and what we've been through. Because what we don't want to do is to carry any of the resistance or the kind of fracture within us, the conflict, the split energy into 2024. And it doesn't mean that we have to have liked everything, but there is, with this energy of the star coming through, a deep desire to want to give you some rejuvenating renewal, so that you can just kind of find more of a neutrality. Now, we need to remember, growth brings discomfort, and hope demands courage, and wisdom means humility, and love, of course, asks vulnerability from us. And so the essential ingredients of what it means to have human connection, to have presence and peace, requires this acknowledgement of the contrast and, what these things are actually asking of you. And, again, with that King of Coins, I feel like you have this leveledness this insight, this maturity on an emotional level to kind of take like a higher perspective, which will definitely be supportive if you're dealing with incredibly tricky situations like close to home, in particular relationships. Now, Neptune shifts direct on the 6th, of course, still in your sign. And, there is this reminder around some of the hopes and dreams and ambitions. And you may be feeling like, I didn't get to where I expected to be, or some of the things fell radically short of what, I believed they were capable of. And again, in that 10th house with a focus around your work and career, in December, there's still a lot of inspiration and ideas that are landing for you. And I want to say to you, just remember, you don't need to necessarily have 100% belief in your ability to achieve the dream if it feels like there's a lot of triggering that's connected to that. But what you can and what you must do is bring 100% trust in your belief and your ability to just take that next step. So what is that next step that you can do through the month of December? Because that feels quite cathartic, quite soothing, quite inspirational, and also just gives you a little bit of like pre-paving, like foundational work that's going to be actually super important for what comes through for you in the early part of the new year. So we've got the Wheel of Fortune here, the water wheel. So unexpected energy, unexpected surprises. Now, I have been saying in December, it's like we have this convoy of gifts that arrive, not materialistically, but spiritually, emotionally, energetically. And we've got the new moon in Sagittarius arriving on the 12th, which is also, of course, the 12-12 portal at 20 degrees. And we have this aspect with Uranus happening. So the conversations can be quite surprising, incredibly illuminating. And, for you, when we're looking at these two majors, I feel quite enthused about this because the star and the wheel tell me that, something celestial is sort of happening. And there's this very fated synchronistic activation of an event or a path that is going to begin to unfold in and around that date. And it will help you to see something in a brand new light. And, as this is a month where you are going to be taking a lot of things in context, there is this awareness from you that I need to give myself permission to explore this, to be curious and to be able to say yes to this. And that's why perhaps you're going to have to come forth with some of these radical new approaches, because you understand you simply don't have the capacity. And the thing is here, we need to remember we're always going to feel like that there's too much to do. That's just the nature of like living in this current time-space reality, right? We always feel that we have to achieve more, to accomplish more. But December does give you a chance to just stop and reevaluate and say, okay, hold up here, like genuinely what is important today. And I am going to stop applying pressure, from the future to my piece of today. Because this is definitely a month where, we're still processing and reflecting. Now, the same day as the new moon, Mercury will go retrograde, our final one of the year. Now, most of the planets are going to be shifting direct, so, that's helpful for us. But I suppose one thing to remember, Queen of Wands we've got coming through here, travel plans, particularly if you're like purchasing gifts and things for the holiday season, try and get that done early. Yeah, because you might be coming up against some challenges of things getting lost, luggage getting lost, like plans going, a little bit haywire. So having a few like plan B, plan C is not going to be unhelpful for you through the course of December with that transit. But on the positive, I think that Mercury is definitely just giving you the chance to go back over some things, revisit some conversations and find some resolution. And I think that the feeling of resolution is quite strong through the month of December. And even as we look out into the collective and we think, well, there's no resolution in sight, this is how the universe is then asking of you, like you have to resolve within the self, because there's no separation between us all. So as we heal within us, each individual person, as we take accountability for that, then that energy gets sent out into the collective. So don't mirror back the discord, the chaos, the conflict, the pain. take the opportunity to find resolution, forgiveness, compassion, healing in the areas that are being activated in your personal life. That's how you step forth in the right energy to be able to be part of the solution. Now, the Queen of Wands here comes in with this passion, with this enthusiasm and positivity, and I think this will help you, especially if you feel a bit jaded, disillusioned, or you're just dealing with an awful lot that feels quite overwhelming. I think she comes in to just kind of spark something that gives you the energy that you need, and especially in Sagittarius energy, that fire, is being nurtured and therefore directed in the right way. It can bring some heightened emotions, and so some of the conversations that take place could feel a little bit intense for you, particularly with someone that's kind of coming at you, not in a negative way, but just with an emotional intensity, that you might be feeling a little bit like, oh, I want to protect myself, or I want to withdraw, or kind of like step back from this a little bit. Again, I think that King of Coins is just giving you the leveledness to be able to just kind of manage and not lose your cool, and really just understand sort of perhaps what's going on at the root of that. So, we continue to be tested right up to the end of the year as we are part of situations and dynamics where we see people struggling, and, a lot of the things that are going on for them, being projected towards us. But I think what we can also take from the arrival of her presence in your reading is that, from a manifesting perspective, like some of the ideas and things you've been working on, or that you're considering, or that even arrive as a result of that wheel showing itself in and around the 12th, you're going to be incredibly inspired and incredibly energized towards doing something. Now, even if it's, like I said, one small step through the course of December, because there's so many other things going on, that's enough. And you have to also recognize within yourself, like, that's enough. I don't need to kind of have all of this figured out and completed by the end of December. What I need to do is kind of activate the energy and have it within my energy field. And we've got the World coming through here, so beautiful majors showing up to kind of culminate and coalesce at this time in 2023. And she looks in a state of release here, as she acknowledges, I made it, I did it. I got there against all the odds. I think you will be feeling that to some degree in some area of your life. And the powerful conclusions, the storylines that are being wrapped up, the cycles that are ending, again, all of it we need to make peace with, because whatever we start or embark upon next, the energy with which we do that and initiate that is going to have such a powerful rippling effect down the line for what comes back to us and the type of experience we're going to have. So the World is also telling me, look, let this closure happen, let this completion, this ending, notably, of course, the end of the year, but, for many of you, there'll be lots of things that you're also just kind of wrapping up and allowing to come to a natural conclusion. And as you find resolution, acceptance, acknowledgement in those things, you are freeing yourself up. And I think, importantly, to be able to say yes to some of the opportunities that are going to be starting to emerge for you over the next few weeks. So when the sun shifts into Capricorn, 21st, we'll also be celebrating beautiful solstice energy. And there is just like this moment, this stillness. And remember I said, your gifts are coming through this month. And the slowdown that happens with Mercury retrograde, but also with solstice, kind of gives cause for celebration, for coming together. It's quite a balancing, grounding feeling that I have for you around that time. And what's really nice is that, comparative to the last 2 or 3 years, we actually have some really beautiful harmonious aspects right acrossing the holiday season. So where you celebrate, whether it be solstice, Christmas, whatever the holiday that means something to you, like the energy around this time is incredibly healing. On the 25th, we've got Venus trining with Neptune. Of course, Neptune in your sign, Venus still being in Scorpio. So all of this water, helping to sort of bring through gifts that feel genuinely meaningful. Again, not on the emphasis of materialism, but just feeling the presence and the power and the peace of what it is that's around you. And also just being able to find that sensitivity and perhaps that emotional intimacy and connectedness with people. And, you know, even if you're going through some things with some individuals that are not necessarily evoking that experience, you are going to be able to sort of balance it up with others that do. So it kind of keeps us in a place of neutral. We have to do this is the duty, but then the next day we get to do this, and this is incredibly uplifting and enlightening. Then we have our full moon in Cancer coming in on the 26th, Boxing Day. And the same day, Chiron, wounded planet, wounded healer, stationing direct. We have some, you know, really lovely aspects, sextile to Jupiter, trining with Saturn. And this, remember, is the second full moon in Cancer. Our first one was back January 6th. So, you know, you might want to cast your mind back. What was going on for me? What was I releasing? What revelations came to me? How was I being activated at that time? Because this is a sort of further deepening, strengthening of that, an opportunity to sort of fully draw the line, but it coming in quite a harmonious way. So this incredibly healing conversation, again, supporting this feeling of like, okay, I can move on from this, I can move forward from this, or I can work with this, or yes, I can accept or handle this. And I think that's going to be incredibly helpful. If you're new to the channel, are that last 3 cards we're going to cover in my extended version of the reading, Pisces. We talk for another 30 minutes or so, go deeper into this reading. We're also going to look at a personal question, a relationship card, and for this month we'll do a quick preview of a major arcana for your year ahead in 2024. So let's just look at some clarifiers and see what wants to come through. So we're going to have Jupiter stationing direct on the 30th, again bringing more blessings in. Remember, you've been doing a lot of work internally through that particular cycle. And, you know, I always think that there's a gift that arrives when Jupiter stations direct, you know, again coming through spiritually, emotionally, energetically. Jupiter will always magnify and amplify wherever its gaze is, you know, being directed. So, you know, make the most of that sort of closing out of the year. I have a beautiful closing ceremony, guided soul journey for you that will be powerful to do, and to kind of harness that Jupiterian energy as well. I've also created like a really lovely series of affirmations for those of you that have a little bit more challenge around, you know, holiday season and what that represents, and perhaps who you need to connect with, and the overwhelm that comes, maybe the scarcity that arrives. And again, you can find these linking in the comment and description box, along with all the decks that I use as well. Okay. This is such a month where we have to ask ourselves, you know, how are we living? How are we acting? From love or from fear? And, you know, we talked about last month how it was like a keep going, stay on track. And, you know, that continues through the month of December. Put one more there. Okay. So Venus will shift signs out of Scorpio and into Sagittarius again on the 29th. And just help, I think, you know, to, when we are discussing our plans for the new year, the future, where we're heading, and, you know, that will, of course, like, activate, you know, what's going on within, like, our money stories, our prosperity, also our sense of value, how valued we feel, and our personal relationships. In Sagittarius, we also get to sort of pin our hopes on something bigger. We get to zoom out a little bit. And again, I think this is going to be helpful as you're closing out the year, but finding that sense of hope, yeah, digging deep for that sense of courage and optimism about what can happen for you, and how you're moving into something completely new for 2024. So let's look at some oracle cards. This is Life Soul Vision, which is my own deck. Please check out these sacred titles, beautiful gifts for you or your loved ones. Just make sure you order nice and early with that retrograde, so you don't hit any challenges around that. Okay, Spirit Bear, we have beautiful ancestral protection. We've got Spirit Stag. We have the Sun, charged in light. We've got Alchemize the Egg, the Collective Heart, And we've got encoded footprints coming through. Beautiful cards here. Again, very healing. And I love the light coming in there, especially if you're in the northern hemisphere, you know, we just want to soak up as much light as we possibly can, really working with that solar plexus energy. Okay, let's have a look at Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck for Pisces December. Shaolin Master, be graceful in movement and action. Okay, beautiful. And then finally, Pisces for December. What message do we have here? Ornaments. So it is a remembrance of what once was and with what will be, a fragile beauty beaming upon thy. Okay, I'm going to go deeper into these messages in the extended. Thank you so much for joining me. As I said, all your support this year. Please do check out the affirmations and closing ceremony and all of my offers over on the website. I wish you an incredibly peaceful season for you and your loved ones. Thank you. I can't wait to connect with you in 2024, and if you're joining me for the extended, can't wait to share deeper insights into this month ahead for you. You be well, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.